So hello everyone. Let's start with our today's session. But before we start, let's revise what we have covered up till now. So in first session, we have learned about cybersecurity. What is cybersecurity, and why is there a need of cybersecurity? So cybersecurity is basically the practice of protecting systems, network, and programs from digital attacks. And its main purpose, is to defend against unauthorized access, theft, or damage to hardware and software. Then we look on to some real world examples. After that, we discussed about the real world relevance of it. Why does it matter? Uh, it matters because of the data protection and safeguarding online identities and preventing cyberbullying and fraud. After that, in first session, we also learned about CIA triad, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. These are the core pillars of cybersecurity. Then we learned about the types of hackers: black hat, white hat, and gray hat hackers. After that, we learned about malwares. Malwares are basically the software designed to harm or exploit systems. Then there are types of malwares: virus, worm, Trojan horse, spyware, ransomware, and adwares. Then we also learned about WannaCry ransomware attack that occurred in 2017. After that, we discussed about cyber crimes and their classifications. So there were three classifications: against individuals, against property, and against government. So against individual, it is in the form of identity theft and cyberbullying. Against property, it is in the form of hacking, phishing, and spreading malware. Against government, it is cyber terrorism and espionage. We also learned about that all these activities are governed by IT Act 2000 in India. After that, we learned about what is the importance of reporting cybercrimes. We must report it because it protects others. We have legal support and evidence and prevent future attacks. Where we can report it on National Cybercrime Reporting Portal, which is cybercrime.gov.in, or local police and cyber cells. After that, we moved on to session two. Uh, which was about social networking security, in which we learned about what is social networking and what are the platforms that are used for social networking. And then we moved on to what are the social media risks. What are social media risks? Like privacy invasion, cyberbullying, phishing scams, reputation damage, addiction, and mental health. So these are the risks that we learned about. In privacy invasion, we learned about that oversharing personal information online can be a risk and makes us vulnerable. Cyberbullying is sending hurtful messages or comments or rumors. Phishing and scams are like fake accounts that trick us into giving our information. And in reputation damage, inappropriate posts that can harm future education career opportunities, like the post we post on social media. Addiction and mental health, excessive use of these applications lead us to anxiety and low self-esteem and self issues. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, guys. I got a call. So let's get back to our revision that we were discussing. After that, we discussed about the safe online behavior. How can we be safe on these online platforms or social networking applications or web applications? So the core points were avoid posting personal information like addresses, school name, and phone numbers. Use privacy settings to control who sees your content. And then there's the last, follow trust rule. Can anyone tell me what is the full form of trust rule? Namya and Chirag, any one of you? Okay. So the full form of trust rule is: think before clicking, respect others online, use strong passwords, secure your devices, and talk to adults if unsure. After that, we discussed about digital footprint. What is a digital footprint? Everything we post online that is considered as our digital footprint, that is available or openly can be seen by anyone else, is our digital footprint. So everything we post online stays forever, even if it is deleted. We discussed about what are the impact of our digital footprint online, like what are the positive impacts and what are the negative impacts. So positive impacts are like future colleges and employers check online presence. So if our digital footprint is positive, it creates a good impact on the employer or a college admission for our college admissions. So we should maintain a digital footprint that is positive. How can we create a positive digital footprint? We can create it by posting volunteering experiences, projects, and academic achievements. We also discuss about how we can check our digital footprint by googling our name periodically. After that, we discussed about instant messaging dangers. What are the dangers that are associated with online or instant messaging? So first one is fake profiles and catfishing. Strangers pretend to be someone else and then they try to extract any kind of information from us that is helpful for them or helpful for their ulterior motives. After that, we discussed about screenshot misuse. Private chats can be taken out of context and shared. Screenshots can be misused. Every group chat that you are in or you are talking to somebody can be taken as a group chat screenshot. So it is very important for us to be aware of what we are sending over the internet. Forwarded rumors. Sharing unverified messages can spread misinformation, which is a big problem for us in India. So we must not forward any kind of rumors or unverified facts over the internet. Location sharing. We must not have our live location shared to anyone except our parents, because live location can reveal your whereabouts to strangers. So some safety tips for this were: never accept messages from unknown numbers, report and block abusive or inappropriate messages, disable auto download of media in WhatsApp. Then we discussed about some etiquettes for messaging and posting. Be polite and respectful. Online words can hurt too. Avoid sending messages late at night. Always verify facts before forwarding messages. Don't join or create offensive or inappropriate group chats. How to stay safe? Use strong password and don't reuse them across apps. Enable two-factor authentication. Update privacy settings regularly. Log out from shared devices and report abuse on any platforms to parents, teachers, or the police or the platform. So that we covered in our previous two sessions. Now let's come on to our today's session. So our today's session will be about safe browsing. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by safe browsing? Okay, let's not go first to safe browsing. Then can anyone tell me about what is browsing? Okay, browsing is basically we surf the internet. So whatever we surf on the internet is known as browsing. Now, what is safe browsing? When we surf on internet or we browse on internet, we go on internet, there are several things that we should avoid, because browsing internet is not safe. As we discussed in previous session that people try to catfish, and there are several kind of attacks that are performed online, like phishing and credential stuffing. So these kind of attacks occurs a lot. So we can be safe by browsing safe and looking onto some or getting some indicators that we are browsing safely. So the internet is full of valuable information, but not all websites are safe. Unsafe browsing can lead to data theft, scams, or device infections. Safe browsing is equal to smart browsing. So whenever we use these payment portals, or wherever we have to put our information of our credit cards or debit cards, we must ensure that whenever we are putting these kind of sensitive information, the website that we are putting onto is trusted and it is safe. There are some indicators that how we can check it. We'll discuss it in upcoming slides. For example, here is one thing that we can check for, that is HTTPS. S stands for secure, and HTTP's full form is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. In this S, that is HTTPS is secure. Secure means it provides there's an SSL certificate which tells us that all the data that is transferred from the user to the server is encrypted. Now, what is encryption? Encryption is basically, for example, all this content that you are seeing on the screen or that is visible on the screen is in plain text, and we can read it and understand what is present on the screen. And if we put it in, like, let's jumble all these words or alphabets or characters, then we won't be able to read it, right? So that is what is some kind of an encryption. Basically, it is converting it into an unreadable format or ununderstandable format for a human being so that they can use it and utilize it. That is known as encryption, and it can be decrypted when needed. So we must look for an HTTPS or a padlock icon that is over there on the address bar of the browser, that ensures that the connection that we had with the website is a secure connection and all the data that is passing through our system is encrypted. Also, we must check for the misspelled domains. Like, for example, we have google.com, where it has an extra O, which indicates that it is not an authentic website. So we must check for it. We have more examples of these kind of domains. For example, we have freeschoollaptops.net.ru. This is not a secure website because it does not have an S or a padlock icon, and it also says free school laptops, which cannot be a uh, authentic website. So we must look for these kind of signs and indicators that are there while we are surfing the internet or browsing the internet. Now, warning signs of an unsafe website. How can we identify that the website is unsafe? There are some ways we can identify these kind of unsafe websites. So first one is pop-ups asking for personal information. You might have seen that there are a lot of websites that ask you for a personal information. So that is also a way we can identify that this website is not safe. Too many ads or flashy download buttons, no contact info or about us page, poor grammar, design errors, or low quality images. These are some warning signs of an unsafe website. As you might have seen, that there are a lot of websites that are available online where we can download movies and songs, but these are not authentic sites. These are websites which trick us into giving personal information by showing pop-ups. So that is a warning sign that is not an unsafe website. There are too many ads and flashy download buttons that are flashing in too many places. So that is also a sign of an unsafe website. No contact or a about us page. These websites also don't have an about us or a contact page where we can contact them or tells us that this is what this website is for or who have created these websites. They also have poor grammar, design errors, or low quality images. So these are the warning signs of unsafe websites. Don't click on suspicious link even if shared by a friend. Use Google Safe Browsing to check that these websites are safe or not, because Google have this sandbox where it checks all these websites, how they are functioning and how they are working. So it is advised to use this link, that is transparencyreport.google.com, for safe browsing and search. If we use this, we can check if the website is safe or unsafe. And for the first one, don't click on suspicious link even if shared by a friend. We don't know that if that friend's web is hacked or not, because even if the link is suspicious, the friend's account might be get hacked and shared by a malicious user. So we must not open suspicious link even if it is shared by a friend. Now let's discuss about clearing browser cache and why it does matter. First of all, cache is the files or temporary files that helps website to load faster. You might have seen that sometimes when you close your browser and you don't have an internet connection, but before closing your browser you had an internet connection, and the website is loaded on your screen of the browser. You close the browser, you disconnect the internet, and then you open your browser again. You can see the website is loaded again from that exact point where you have dropped where you have closed the browser. So how this website is loading without an internet connection? So that there comes the browser cache. Browser cache stores or temporarily holds all these files or websites data that helps it load faster next time whenever you click on it and load it. That is what cache is. Now, why it is important to clear it? It is important to clear it because it improves speeds, fixes loading errors, protects your data on shared devices. When you click on or when you clear the browser cache, it will clear your authentication tokens, your preferred settings, and your data that is present on that uh, browser in the cache storage or local storage. It will protect your data on shared devices. For example, you log into your account in your friend's device or on a public computer. You must clear browser cache so that you are sure all the data that you have put over there on the laptop is cleared. It also fixes loading error. Sometimes what happens is you load a website, but it loads on a previous version because of the browser cache. So when you clear your browser cache, it will fetch all the new files from the server and will load it again. So it will fix all the loading errors that are present on the website. It will also improve speed because it will release the browser's space or the browser's cache storage, which will allow it to store more data and fetch the data faster. It don't have to clear the previous data to make space and then load the data. That's how it improves speed. Now, how can we clear it? First of all, we can clear it by click on the three dots present on the right side of the uh, address bar at the extreme right corner, and then go to settings. In settings, we have to go to privacy and security. After that, we have to click on clear browsing data, which will clear our browsing cache and our browsing data. Select the cache images and files. Choose the time range for how long you have to clear the cached images and files, and then hit clear data. It will clear your browser cache and it will make the browser load websites faster. It will fix the loading errors and protects your data on shared devices. Now, what are the some practices that we can use to for safe browsing? First one is always log out from websites after use. We must not close the browser by just logging into our device and then closing the browser. We must log out first properly and then we close the browser. Use updated browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Edge, whatever we use, just use the updated ones. Don't save passwords on public or shared computers. Avoid suspicious free downloads. Pro tip: use browser extensions like HTTPS everywhere or ad blocker for enhanced safety. Now, why it is advised to use updated browsers? What happens is there are security vulnerabilities that are present in the browser that we are using. So every time we get an update, is an there might be an update or a patched vulnerability that can be exploited to gain access to your data. So it is advised to use updated browser, which will help you be safe or browse safe. Now, don't save password on public or shared computers. It is advised to not save our passwords on public or shared computers, because whenever we save our passwords on shared computers, when someone goes to that same website, it will autofill these text fields or input fields with our credentials, and the person who is using that computer can access to our account. So it is advised to not save passwords on public or shared computers. And it is also advised, or I will also advise you, if you are using a public or a shared computer, use it in an incognito window, because what it will do, it will hold the session information for that time only, until you have closed that whole window or the tab. It will maintain your session for that period only. Once you close that tab or that window, it will destroy all your data that is present, or that you were using in that window or in that session. So it is advised to use incognito mode in public or shared computers. Avoid suspicious free downloads. We also advise you to use browser extensions like HTTPS everywhere or ad blockers for enhanced safety. Why it is advised to use ad blockers? It is advised because sometimes some ads are so irritable, and unknowingly we click on the ad and it downloads something on our computer which might be a malware. So it is advised to use these extensions like HTTPS everywhere and ad blockers for enhanced safety. Now, social media browsing tips. Use official apps or websites, not modded versions. Be cautious while clicking on stories, reels, or links in bios. Don't click on you won a prize ads or surveys. Turn off autoplay videos to save data and avoid exposure to harmful content. So it is advised to use official apps or websites of social media applications or web applications, because what happens is we to get some extra insights about our account, we tend to move to modded versions. For example, uh, let's take a person A who is very conscious about his social media accounts. So what he does is he downloaded and modded application in which uh, he has a luxury of looking at the list where he can see who has just viewed his account and who is constantly visiting his account to see what he has posted. Basically, it's not good for us to use those modded version, because what they does is these modded versions, they can add a middleware to it and have all these credentials, or have our credentials that we put to log into the application. For example, Instagram. This person A uses Instagram's modded version to look at how many people are looking at his account without them knowing. So what he does, he downloaded a modded application, he put his credential there, and then he log into Instagram using that modded version. Now what happens is, in that modded version, there's a middleware who stores all those credentials that are put by the users to have extra insights about their account. Now that middleware, or uh, that middleware stores all the username and credentials. Now the one who's controlling or who has developed the modded version can have access to all those accounts from that middleware that he has put in between the user and the server, by using that modded version of that application. So our credentials are not stolen or not phased, we just hand it over to it. So we must not use modded versions, and we must use official websites and apps. Be cautious while clicking on stories, reels, or links in bios. What happens is, in stories, reels, or links in bios, they can put a link or a phishing link, or worse, they can hook your browser and get access to your browsers of what you are surfing on the internet. So it is advised to not click on link on stories, reels, or in links in bios. Do not click on you won a prize ads or surveys. Most of the time, you won a prize ads or surveys are present to hook you to a content and then sell you a malware or send you a malware which you will download unknowingly and you get your device compromised. So it is advised to not click on "you won a prize" kind of ads and surveys. You must turn off autoplay videos to save data and avoid exposure to harmful content. What happens is, when we have autoplay on, videos tend to start going on automatically. Whenever you scroll over them, it starts automatic playing automatically, which is not good because it takes consumes data, and it if it is harmful content, we might get to see it unknowingly. So it is advised to turn off autoplay videos to save data and avoid exposure to harmful content. Now, mobile browser safety. It is advised to use mobile applications wherever we can, or for which applications we have in our devices, over browser websites or web applications. For example, we have an app for Instagram. We must use an application for Instagram on our devices, mobile devices, instead of going on the browser or Chrome in our devices, like mobile devices or Android devices, and then surfing on the Instagram. Also, it is preferred to use incognito mode if browsing on a friend's phone or a public Wi-Fi. Avoid entering passwords or personal details on mobile browser pop-ups. Most easily compromised devices are mobile devices, because a lot of people don't have an antivirus on their devices which can protect them from these kind of attacks. So it is advised to avoid entering password or personal details on your mobile browser pop-ups. Now, your cyber hygiene checklist is somewhat look like this. Use secure Wi-Fi, no public cafe networks without a VPN. Don't use public Wi-Fi or cafe networks without a VPN. Don't enter sensitive data on unknown sites. Keep browser extensions minimal. Turn off pop-ups and redirections. Use antivirus and firewall protection. So it is advised to use VPN on cafe networks or public networks because VPN encrypts our data before it leaves our device. What happens is, we don't know if someone is eavesdropping from a cafe network or a public Wi-Fi, and all the data that is going through that internet or through that connection is going through their laptops, where where they can intercept all the data that is going through that network. If the website does not have HTTPS, it is going in a plain text, where in public network it is clearly readable for the person who is intercepting the traffic in a public network. So it is advised to use a VPN which will encrypt the data before it leaves our device. So even if the website is not safe, it does not have HTTPS protection, our data is safe. Don't enter sensitive data on unknown sites. Do not put your data on unknown sites, or keep your browser extension minimal. Download only trusted browser extensions. There are a lot of extensions available, and you can also create one for yourself. So if anyone can create browser extensions so easily, then there are a lot of browser extensions, or there might be a lot of browser extensions which are unsafe, that we must keep ourselves minimal for these browser extensions. Turn off pop-ups and redirections. What happens is, most of the time when we visit a website that is unsafe, it tries to open pop-ups and redirect us to different websites. In latest version of browsers, it asks us, or it shows us, that this website is trying to open a pop-up or redirecting us to somewhere else. We can disable that disable that from settings, that we don't want any kind of pop-ups on our screen or redirections other than the website we have clicked on. Use antivirus and firewall protection. Download antivirus on your devices, and which basically strengthens your firewall protection. Now, for today's session, let's discuss about our what will be the assignment for today's session, and then we'll come on to the quiz section of today's session. So you have to create a browser configuration guide that outlines how to secure settings, block trackers, and clear cache efficiently. So basically, you have to create a guide for a browser configuration that we must set up after downloading a browser on our device, which will guide us on how to secure settings, block the trackers, and clear cache effectively, installing ad blockers and HTTPS everywhere. If we have the VPN connection or VPN account or paid VPN account, which extension or the extension that we have the paid subscription for to be downloaded and installed in the browser. So this is how you have to create a browser configuration guide, and then you have to submit it on this URL, or you have to scan this QR code to upload your assignment that you have completed. You have to upload the assignment and then you have to close the form, as it requires all the 10 assignments to be uploaded, and then it will allow you to submit the form. So you have, since now we have discussed only 3 assignments, so you have to upload your assignment and then close the tab. Now, before we move on to our quiz section, do you guys have any doubts? Chirag, do you have any doubts? Okay. So if you don't have any doubts, let's move on to our quiz section. So what does HTTPS stands for? So HTTPS stands for Hypertext Protocol Secure. Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure. And to it helps or it is there on a website that tells us that is the website is secure and the data is encrypted before it leaves the data is securely transmitted to the server. How can we check if the website is secure? We can check the website is secure by checking for the padlock sign, it has HTTPS protection, and the name of the domain is correct. After that, we have next question, which is name one reason to clear a browser cache. So one reason to clear a browser cache is it makes the websites load faster. It resolves the loading errors. These are the 2 reasons that we should clear our browser cache. Now moving on to our situation-based questions. Scenario 1. You're about to enter your credit card details on a website, but you notice the URL starts with HTTP instead of HTTPS. Why you should stop and do not enter your credit card details on that site? So we should stop and do not enter our details on that site because it does not have HTTPS. HTTPS ensures that the data that we are sending is secured and encrypted. Now, moving on to our next scenario. While browsing, a window suddenly appears on our screen claiming you won a free laptop and asking for our home address. What warning sign is this website exhibiting? So we were browsing internet and a window suddenly appears on our screen claiming that we have won a free laptop and asking for our home address for delivery. What warning sign is this website exhibiting? So this website is asking for our personal information, and secondly, it is a pop-up pop-up window that is showing us that we won a free laptop without even doing anything. So These are the two main warning signs that is shown by that website. Now, moving on to our next question. You are using a computer at a public library to check your email. According to the document, what two actions should you take before leaving the computer to protect your data? So, we were using a public library's laptop or a computer to check our email. The action we should take before we leaving the computer to protect our data is logging out and clearing browser cache. And if we are using incognito mode, then we just have to log out properly and then close the window. See, these are the things that we must ensure before leaving the computer, which will help us protect our data. You receive a link from a close friend that points to a website with a URL like google.com. Should you click it? Why or why not? Yes, we must not click it because if we click it, basically, first, yeah, yes, Chirag,
Nothing, sir.
okay. Uh, so the website that is shared with us, google.com, is not in the and not has its correct spelling because it has multiple O's that are not present in the original one, and it might be an unsafe website. Now moving on to next scenario. You notice a website has several design errors, poor grammar, and low quality images. What does these signs suggest? So we visit the website and it has several design errors. It has very poor grammar and have used low quality images while creating the website. So what are these signs indicate towards? So these signs indicate towards that the website is not secure and the website might be fake website or it is unsecure website. Now moving on to a next scenario, you are browsing social media and see an interesting ad for a modded version of a popular app that promises extra features for free. What is a safe practice that we must follow? So there's an ad on YouTube while we were surfing on YouTube, and it shows that a popular app has been modded, and it offers extra features to us in the modded version. What we should do, or what it is recommended for us to have. Uh, do we use this modded version, or should we not use that modded version? We should not use that modded version because if they are promising, even though they are promising extra features for free, it might be that it might have a middleware or it might be unsafe. Now, moving on to a next scenario, and our last scenario is a website you frequently visit is taking long time to load or showing errors. What browser maintenance step can you take to try and fix this? So we have this website that we frequently visit, but it is taking too much time to load. How can we fix this by from our browser side, or it is showing error? How can we maintain our browser, or which steps can we take in a browser maintenance to try and fix this? we can fix this by clearing browser cache, and we can clear it by going on to the settings and then privacy and security, clear browsing data, and then select the website for which we have to delete the browsing data and then click on clear cache. After that, if we reload the website, it will load faster and it will load without any errors. So this was the quiz round for this session. Now let's discuss about what are the key takeaways that we discussed in today's session. We must always check for an HTTPS and a padlock icon, which indicates that the website is secure. Clear our cache regularly, especially on shared devices, which will allow us to be safe on shared devices, and it will load the websites faster and error-free. Practice smart habits while using social media. Safe browsing is equal to safe digital identity. Thank you guys for joining today's session. We'll see you tomorrow in next session. Chirag, do you have any doubts from today's session?
No, sir. I understood everything. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Chirag. Thank you so much for joining today's session. Let's see you tomorrow.
Sure, sir. Thank you.